what's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of B is for Build. I feel like the camera's a little tall. There we go. Perspective-wise, I look taller than a truck now. Perfect. You guys, in today's episode, we are starting in a brand new build. It's a new type of build for us as well. The concept for this build started probably 6 to 8 months ago when I was watching somebody that was streaming live on Twitch from their camper van in the middle of the woods. And I just thought that was so cool. And the way that it was possible is it was utilizing some new technology. So good generators, battery packs, solar panels, and most importantly, new technology that is out, which is the Starlink internet system. So the satellite internet system that brings really high speed internet to remote locations with low enough latency that you can actually game on it. So we're now living in a world where you can build a crazy mobile gaming vehicle. So I immediately went down the path of conversion vans. I know a lot of people have built them. They're really fun. Conversion vans, I was looking at auctions for Sprinters and ProMasters and different things like that we could buy and that we could utilize. And then as we added Zane onto the team as well, I started to look at the requirements that we had. We need to be able to sleep 4 people in this bad boy, game at least 3 people gaming actively. I'm a huge Apex Legends fan and that's a 3-person game. At least 3 people gaming inside the van and be able to go to those remote locations. I want to go up to a snowy mountaintop. I want to go out to a nice green grass, mountainous valley. We need to be able to go off-roading. So I was living in van world with my head wrapped around the van idea, trying to 3D model interiors of vans to see how we were going to fit everything and get everything in there. All of our gaming stations and everything that we needed to sleep. And then I thought, man, it'd be really good if we could get a van that could tow. So when we were going to things like LS Fest or just towing a car across the country, we could sleep in the van and then have our tow thing. And that is possible. Some vans can tow, but not many of them can tow a lot. The requirements for the van that I needed started to stack up to be really high. Potential to go off-road with probably all-wheel drive, towing capacity, tall deck, long van. The cost for these things seriously crashed. They were breaking $35, $40, $45, $50,000 with a salvage title crashed. Didn't make any sense. And then I remembered that we have this. So let's get started. Stay tuned. Before I get down to it, I want to take a second out to thank our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. You guys know I've been playing Raid for years, but you know what keeps me coming back to the game, why I love it so much? It's 2 things. One is the PvP aspect of the game I cannot get enough of. It allows you to stack up your champions against other real players in the real world and battle to see who's the best. Second thing is the graphics. Raid's graphics are second to none. They keep coming out with new champions, and right now Raid's got this awesome new champion elect event going on where you can pick your favorite champion. Just download the game from the link below and you can go vote, and you get the opportunity to win awesome in-game and real-life prizes, including epic and legendary champions, in-game items, and even Amazon gift cards worth up to $1,000. And you might have seen Raid also has a new champion, Ronda Rousey, the pro MMA and pro wrestler Ronda Rousey. And you can get Ronda for free right now, whether you're a new or existing player. All you gotta do is log in and play Raid for 7 days between now and February 20th. And if you haven't started playing Raid yet, click the link in my description or scan my QR code here on the screen and you'll get unique bosses worth $35. We're talking a free epic champion Jotun, 100,000 silver, 50 gems, and 2 epic skill tomes. All this treasure is going to be waiting for you right here. Thanks again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring another episode. Let's get down to it. Well, let's talk about this. This is a Ram 3500. It's 2008. It's got a beautiful Cummins diesel engine in it. We know it runs. It's got some light front end damage. It's got 4-wheel drive and it can tow like 35,000 pounds. So it can tow way more than any trailer that we have right now. So it's a great tow rig. It's a great potential for going off-roading rig. The only other thing that a camper van offers is just some big thing on the back. That's all we need to be to equal out camper van. So I got to designing with this truck as the base. It ticked all the boxes that we need as far as functionality. So speaking of boxes, that's what I needed to design for the back of this thing. So I got to designing and I've so far got the rough shape of a back end for this thing that is going to be able to have 3 of us gaming, 3 gaming stations in there and 4 sleeping stations in there. It is the ultimate LAN van or fraggin' wagon. Not really sure which name you guys like best, let me know. It's not really a van, so I'm going with Fraggin' Wagon for now. But this is kicking off a new build, and it's gonna be really fun because we're doing stuff that we've never done before. We're building structurally a whole new back end for this thing, and then it's gonna have to have a nice cozy interior that reminds you of those beautifully built conversion vans that a lot of other people are doing. If other people can do it, why can't we? So it's gonna look nice on the inside. It's gonna be a gaming themed, gaming centric adventure vehicle with 4-wheel drive that can tow our race cars around. We can travel across the country with it. But when it's time to go play games out in the middle of the remote wilderness, no power lines anywhere, no nothing, just us and the fragging wagon, that's the end goal for this build. All right, bit of a shop update. We've hung new lights to hopefully be able to let you guys see a little bit better. This temporary shop, we've got our offer in on a nice big shop. And this is where we're probably gonna do enough work until this thing can drive out of here on its own. If everything stays according to plan right now and our offer gets accepted on the nice big shop, this thing will probably drive out of here on its own power, and then we'll move everything out of this shop into the new shop. So let's talk about what we got to do to get it driving. Actually, it did drive before I tore the front end down. The engine ran, power steering is gone, the power brakes are gone, the front end got smushed, and we tore out a lot of stuff to start getting ready to pull the engine and put it in my RX-7. And man, right now am I glad we didn't, because this truck is just absolutely the perfect thing for what we need for this project. What we're gonna start going after first is the crash damage on this thing. We're gonna do some measurements off of those strut towers right there, and we're gonna double, triple check that none of the suspension pickup points, none of the suspension on this truck, I'm so used to saying car, guys, you're gonna have to forgive me. We need to make sure that the suspension towers are not bent, not messed up at all, and then that's gonna tell us where our cut point is. If they're bent and they're messed up at all, we gotta replace those and go back further. If they're not bent and they're not moved, then we can cut right in front of those. And then we're just talking about tube framing out the rest of the supports that we need for these upper aprons and the actual frame section to hold the sway bar, power steering, and also our front bumper, as long as those upper strut towers are good. So we're gonna start by measuring the strut towers, and then if everything's good, we're gonna start by tearing this thing down and getting the unused parts, the parts we're not gonna be using, out of here and away, and get ready to cut our frame back. And the truck is done. Let me show you around. Did I say done? We're pretty far from done, but its frame is repaired. So way back in the beginning of this video, we talked about tube framing the front end. We were gonna remove the bad stuff and tube frame it out. And then I talked with Oscar about it, and we thought, you know what, let's do this a little bit differently, because on these frame sections, there are so many things that help drive different things on the vehicle. So you have your sway bar, your torsion bar, it's pretty massive, and that bolts on down there and there. And then your steering servo is right here. That's this big, massive thing right here, which then, you know, connects up to the rest of your steering rack and steers the rest of the vehicle. So some pretty defined points in space where we really needed to have them all right. Thought, you know what, it'd probably be best to go with frame rail sections. So a viewer, Jason, who watched our very first video on this, told me a long time ago, he's like, hey man, I got a frame rail section if you guys want to buy it from me. And I said, yeah, hold on to that. So we actually went and grabbed that in the middle of this project and got it. And then Oscar, you saw him in the video, plate backed it and then re-welded it back in there. So now we have the frame section, like all OEM for the front end of this thing on both sides. We've got the steering plug back in. We ran an alignment, just did a quick string alignment, and everything is looking really, really good. So this is a pretty big milestone. Now we also have been ordering parts. We got new radiator, intercooler, AC condenser, all that stuff to go back in the front. But I do want to tell you guys right now that you're going to see this front be a little bit bare until we get all the rest of the parts, because we're not actually going to put the front back the way we had it before. We're going to take the opportunity to take this time to facelift the front to newer generation headlights, grille, front bumper with a winch mount, and a bunch of other stuff. Main reason being, and we've done this before, my Raptor looks a little newer than it actually is because they don't change the cab of trucks very much. Like, this shape stays the same a lot, and then we're redoing the whole back of this and the whole box of this, as I showed you in the beginning of the episode. So I figured update the front of this thing while we're in here, and we're gonna have a much newer looking truck overall, and figured, why not? We're buying all new parts anyways. So we got all new stuff coming in from this, from a 2021 model. It should be a fun, just a little addition that we can do to this thing from the cosmetic side. Also, I gotta say, I always love having the new technology and the new headlights. Just makes seeing on the road that much easier. In the next episode on this build, we will definitely, though, get it running. We're probably gonna do a mocked up, get it running type of thing, so we can bring it to, drumroll please, our new shop. Yes, we're getting out of this place. This is how crammed we are for space right now. We need to take this guy off so I can start construction on the whole back section of this guy, and we don't have enough room to take the bed of the truck off and get rid of it. Oh, also, if you're in the Portland area and you want this bed of this truck, it's got a little bit of paint peeling on it and stuff, but other than that, it's in pretty good shape. I don't even think it has any dents. If you want it just to scrap it, or if you're gonna use it, I'd love it if somebody's gonna use it, but even if somebody just wants to scrap it, it is gonna be available, and you can email me, Chris@BS4Build, and it's just free. Thank you for watching. Free truck bed if anybody wants it. So like I said, the next steps are on this thing is we're gonna get it running again, and then we're gonna prepare it and move it into our new shop. I'm very, very excited. We are signing a 3-year lease on a new, amazingly large space, bigger than our last shop, to have plenty of room for whatever the future may hold. BS4Build at this point has been running for 7 years. We've been doing this for 7 years full time, and this next, 3-year long shop is quite a commitment. Game plan right now is either to use all 3 years of the lease or 2 years, and in those 2 years finish building out the other shop on the property that I own. So hopefully one way or another over the next 3 years we'll be back on my own property that I own, so I'm not paying rent. But it's very exciting times because this shop is going to be really cool, and signing a 3-year lease means that we can really customize it and do everything that we want. Where when we were in the last large shop, we knew we were going to be out of there in a year, so we couldn't really do any like heavy duty construction or modifications to make it better for ourselves. But this time, I mean, it's all us. We get to do whatever we want, and it's quite a fixer upper too. So the landlords are like, do whatever the hell you want to do to this space, and then make it nice before you leave. So commitment wise, it is definitely the biggest move we've ever made. I mean, the cost of that place is much more, like I said, it's about the cost of a Lamborghini every year, but it's just something that we got to do if we want to be able to keep chasing our dreams and make bigger and better projects every time. That's just what we're about, and that's what we enjoy doing. And as you guys have seen in the last few episodes, we're gonna need some space with pulling apart some EV cars and conversion stuff and just all sorts of different swaps this year. It's gonna be fun. This is a lot of new stuff for us, so I hope you're jazzed on it, because I know we're really excited to learn all the ins and outs of building a vehicle that we're planning on trying to live in for short amounts of time. Or hell, if all the financial stuff with this lease and everything goes badly, maybe a long time. We'll see. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Peace!